Hello everyone, today I would like to talk about using bots in game testing. By bots I mean AI we can usually encounter in single-player games. The main advantage of bots is that they are making decisions faster than player. As you can see, I have started a game where bot can play against another bot. What's interesting here is that the console is filled with logs. Those logs describe every important action made during the game. What's really important here is that those logs were written when the match started. We can even find out who has won the game. It's because I have separated all the visuals from the game logic. Thanks to that, I can simulate the whole match in a fraction of frame. This way I can test if any error is encountered during a random match. If any error occurs, I can check the console for any clues that could help me with finding the solution. However, a random match is not a really good sample for game testing. To reduce this problem, we can run the match multiple times. This, however, creates another issue. If we run the game multiple times, the game logs will be filled with a huge amount of text. The logs are being written on the hard drive, and the communication with the hard drive is slow. Writing these logs greatly slows down the game testing. Additionally, it will become harder to figure out what logs are important for us. To fix that, I have decided to write logs only if an error occurs. I do that by calling my own method that stores the text messages in a list. Then, when an error occurs, I simply log all these messages. That way, the logs are written only when necessary. That way, I can easily detect any generic errors or errors defined by me. When you think about it, the most annoying errors are the ones that break the game. It can include problems such as infinite loops or frozen AI. However, not every error can be detected that way. For instance, it won't find most of visual books. It also won't find out if the card description is correct and vice versa. Even if bots help you find out the most game-breaking books, you will still need to test game manually. The more content your game has, the more bot testing is important. It's especially important in games where objects can create some unique interactions. Let's take a look at some cards from a popular game called Magic the Gathering. One card gives you life every time your opponent loses life. The second card damages your opponent every time you gain a life. If any card is triggered, the other one also triggers, and the infinite loop is created. If the game is not prepared for such scenario, the match can freeze or broke. It's important to realize that the more content is added to the game, the higher is the chance that some unexpected interaction can be created. Testing one object is easy. However, testing interactions between multiple objects is difficult because there are so many of them. Bots won't be able to find all of them, but they will test much more examples than a regular tester. Unfortunately, bot testing has some other issues. Even if it finds an error and it logs everything in the console, you might struggle with finding out why the error occurred. This problem can be reduced by teaching your bots how to narrow the problem. For instance, we can get rid of the cards that haven't affected the game at all. If we happen to reduce the deck size, the probability of the occurring error increases. Then, if error occurs again, we can do the same thing over and over again. At some point we will end up with a small deck and a huge probability of reproducing the error. It will make debugging much easier. There are two main kinds of bots, a random one and a deterministic one. Random behavior makes it much easier for bot to encounter random bugs. On the other hand, deterministic behavior makes it much easier for us to reproduce the bug. All we have to do is to save the order of our initial deck. Then, if we disable deck shuffling and we run bots again, we will end up with the exact same result. If your game contains some randomness, it makes bot testing trickier. You can address that problem by storing the information about your initial seed, and then using this seed to make random rolls. That way, even a random game becomes a deterministic one. After saving problematic samples, you can later use them to check if your code changes have affected them. That's everything for today, and I hope you liked it.